ಪಂಚಮಾತಂಗಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ ಪಂಚಮಾತಂಗಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ ಪರಿಪಾಲಿತೋಗಂ ಶ್ರೀ ಪಂಚಮಾತಂಗಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ ಪರಿಪಾಲಿತೋಗಂ ಶ್ರೀ ಪಂಚಮಾತಂಗಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ ಪರಿಪಾಲಿತೋಗಂ ಸುಮುಖೇನ ಶ್ರೀ ಪಂಚಮಾತಂಗಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ ಪರಿಪಾಲಿತೋಗಂ ಸುಮುಖೇನ ಶ್ರೀ ಪಂಚಮಾತಂಗಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ ಪಂಚಭೂತಾತ್ಮಕ 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 ಪ್ರಪಂಚೋದಯಾಧಿಕರಣ ಪಂಚಭೂತಾತ್ಮಕ ಪ್ರಪಂಚೋದಯಾಧಿಕರಣ ವಿರಿಂಚಿ ಹರಿರುದ್ಧನುತೇನ ವಿರಿಂಚಿ ಹರಿರುದ್ಧನುತೇನ ಪಂಚವಕ್ರ ಶಿವಸುತೇನ ಪಂಚಮಾತಂಗಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ ವಿರಿಂಚಿ ಹರಿರುದ್ಧನುತೇನ ಪಂಚವಕ್ರ ಶಿವಸುತೇನ ಪಂಚಮಾತಂಗಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ ಪರಿಪಾಲಿತೋಗಂ ಸುಮುಖೇನ ಶ್ರೀ ಪಂಚಮಾತಂಗಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ ವರದಾಭಯ ಪಾಶಸ್ನಿಕ ವರದಾಭಯ ಪಾಶಸ್ನಿಕ ಬಾಲದಂತ ಮೋದಕ ಮುದ್ಗರಾಕ್ಷ ಮಾಲಕರೇನ ವರದಾಭಯ ಪಾಶಸ್ನಿಕ ಬಾಲದಂತ ಮೋದಕ ಮುದ್ಗರಾಕ್ಷ ಮಾಲಕರೇನ ಕಮಲಾಕರ ವಿಹಾರೇನ ಪುರುಹೂತ ಜಗಿಲ ದೇವ ಪೂಜಿತ ವಿಘ್ನೇಶ್ವರೇನ ಕಮಲಾಕರ ವಿಹಾರೇನ ಪುರುಹೂತ ಜಗಿಲ ದೇವ ಪೂಜಿತ ವಿಘ್ನೇಶ್ವರೇನ ವರಗುರುಗುಗ ಸೋದರೇನ ವರಗುರುಗುಗ ಸೋದರೇನ ವರಗುರುಗುಗ ಸೋದರೇನ ಸುರುಚಿರ ಲಂಬೋದರೇನ ವರಗುರುಗುಗ ಸೋದರೇನ ಸುರುಚಿರ ಲಂಬೋದರೇನ ಕರುಣಾಂಗ ಕೌರತರೇನ ಕಲಿಮಲಹರನ ಪರೇನ ಪಂಚಮಾತಂಗಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ ವರಗುರುಗುಗ ಸೋದರೇನ ಸುರುಚಿರಲಂಬೋದರೇನ ಕರುಣಾಂಗ ಗೌರತರೇನ ಕಲಿಮಲಹರನ ಬರೇನ ಪಂಚ ಮಾತಂಗ ಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ ಪರಿಪಾಲಿತೋಗಂ ಸುಮುಖೇನ ಶ್ರೀ ಪಂಚ ಮಾತಂಗ ಮುಖ ಗಣಪತಿನ
The composition that I have chosen is in Ragam Atana, a composition of Mysore Maharaja, Sri Jayachamendra Wadayar. He was a Sri Vidya Upasika. So most of his composition will have the mudra or ingita of Sri Vidya. A lot of compositions are on Ammavaru. This composition is very special to me as it was presented in Mumbai with my teacher. So I decided to sing that song today. Sri Mahaganapatim Bhajeham Shri Mahaganapatim Bhajeham Shri Mahaganapatim Bhajeham Shri Mahaganapatim Bhajeham Shri Mahaganapatim Bhajeham Shivatmajam Shanmukagrajam Shri Mahaganapatim Bhajeham Shivatmajam Shanmukagrajam Shri Mahaganapatim Bhajeham Siddhagana sevitam Vignanashakam Siddhagana sevitam Vignanashakam Shigravara Prasadadayakam Siddhagana sevitam Vignanashakam Shigravara Prasadadayakam Sadayam Kapila Muni Varadayakam Guru Sevasaktam Herambam Shri Mahaganapatim Bhajeham Sadayam Kapila Muni Varadayakam Guru Sevasaktam Herambam Shri Mahaganapatim Bhajeham Shivatmajam Shanmukagrajam Shri Mahaganapatim Bhajeham ज्ञानमुद्रालङ्कृतं मूलाधारनिवासिनं श्रीं महागणपतिं भजेऽहं ज्ञानमुद्रालङ्कृतं मूलाधारनिवासिनं श्री महागणपतिं भजेऽहं गजारण्यवासिनं ज्योतिर्मयम् उपनिषत्सारं गजारण्यवासिनं ज्योतिर्मयम् उपनिषत्सारं पञ्चभूतात्मकं सिन्धूरप्रियं पञ्चमातङ्गमुखं श्री महागणपतिं भजेऽहं गजारण्यवासिनं ज्योतिर्मयम् उपनिषत्सारं पञ्चभूतात्मकं सिन्धूरप्रियं पञ्चमातङ्गमुखं श्री महागणपतिं भजेऽहं कामेशनयनाह्लादकम् कामेशनयनाह्लादकं नागलिङ्गवरपुत्रं कामेशनयनाह्लादकं नागलिङ्गवरपुत्रं श्रीविद्याचित्प्रभानन्द राजयोगीन्द्रवन्दितं श्रीं महागणपतिं भजेऽहं कामेशनयनाह्लादकं नागलिङ्गवरपुत्रं श्रीविद्याचित्प्रभानन्द राजयोगीन्द्रवन्दितं श्रीं महागणपतिं भजेऽहं शिवात्मजं षण्मुखाग्रजं श्रीमहागणपतिं भजेऽहम्
Happy Ganesha Vaibhavam. We are so fortunate in our community to have Dr. Ganesha Vaibhavam here in Melbourne since 2002. He was a student of Sri Satya Sai University in India. Bhaskar Garu has been sharing his understanding of Indian philosophy and culture at different forums and also here for the past several years. He runs weekly Sloka Stotra classes at his home for children. Please welcome Dr. Ganesha Vaibhavam.
సరిపోయిందా వాసు సరిపోయిందా శుక్లాంబరధరం విష్ణుం शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये अगजाननपद्मार्कं गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदं तं भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे अंकमुजेरिशैलतनयास्तनदुर्गमुलानुवेळ यावंककुचम्बुगानकहिवल्लभहारमुगाञ्चि वेमृणालाङ्कशङ्कनन्टेडि गजास्युनिकोल्तुनभीष्टसिद्धिकिन् वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सदाशिवसमारम्भां व्यासशङ्करमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. I offer my most prayerful salutations at the divine lotus feet of Lord Ganesha. Wish you all a very happy Vinayaka Chaviti. It is a great blessing that we are able to gather on the occasion of such a holy festival to talk about Lord Ganesha, his life, and his leelas, and his power, and his glory. That in itself is a singular blessing that we are able to do that. We have in Sanatana Dharma numerous festivals, and Vinayaka Chaviti or Ganesh Chaturthi is one of the holiest of the festivals that has been celebrated for the longest time in the history. Those of us who are familiar with celebrating Vinayaka Vratam and reading Vinayaka Vrata Katha know that this Vinayaka Vratam was performed by Lord Krishna himself. So that means this Vratam has been performed by an entire Bharatiya civilization for more than 5,000 years. That in doing so today, in celebrating this Ganesha Chaturthi as a festival, in trying to worship Lord Ganesha in the manner that it has been prescribed, we all know we gather all types of leaves that are available in and around. And we prepare, of course, a whole lot of dishes to please and offer to Lord Ganesha and please him. So there is a certain manner in which this festival is to be celebrated. And think about that for more than 5,000 years or so, as an Indian race, as a Bharatiya race, we have been celebrating it without any break, and that itself is a marvelous thing. And I hope and pray that for another 5,000 years and more, our children and their grandchildren and others will continue to celebrate and receive the blessings of Lord Ganesha. I also would like to thank Mr. Vasudevan. I would like to always refer to him as Brother Vasudevan, because that is how I consider him to be, and his family, Sister Vasumati and Vikram, for actually showing great interest in having this event. Of course, as we always firmly believe, such events as satsangs like this, when people gather in the name of God, these events can happen only with the sankalpa or the blessing of God himself. So I invoke Lord Vinayaka's blessings and grace on each and every one of us who are present here, and on those who are probably joining us from afar. May his blessings be on us. I invoke his grace on all of us. So that said, in Sanatana Dharma, there are mainly 6 folds, 6 paths, if you want to call it, as established by Sri Adi Shankara. They are called Shanmatas. Shaivam, Vaishnavam, Shakteyam, Sauram, Skandam, Ganapatyam. So, in Sanatana Dharma, there are several gods and goddesses. Adi Shankara laid out a certain overarching view of Sanatana Dharma so that we understand what our religion is. So Adi Shankara is known as the Shanmata Sthapanacharya. Shaktam are those who worship the supreme deity as mother goddess. Call her by whatever name. Shakti Upasana is Shaktam. Shaivam are those who worship the supreme underlying reality as Lord Shiva. Vaishnavas are those who worship the same supreme reality as Lord Vishnu. Sauram is those who worship that reality as the sun. And Skandam are those who worship the same supreme reality as Lord Subramanya. And finally, Ganapatyas are those who worship the same supreme reality as Lord Ganesha, Ganapati, as we call it. So you see, in all these things, I kept saying the same supreme reality, the same supreme reality. Because when people ask us, oh, how many gods do you have? Or why do you have so many gods? Because most other religions have only one God, and that is the virtue. So having more than one God seems to be somehow a sort of a confused state of mind. But the fact is, nobody need to tell a Hindu about oneness of Godhead. Because the Vedas, which are the foundations of Sanatana Dharma, have declared Ekam Sat, Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. There is only one supreme reality, which has been described in numerous ways, in different ways, by the sages. So it is the perception, it is the reception, it is the process by which we realize that existence of such a supreme reality, that we have multiple paths. Reality itself is one, is always the case. Eko Narayanaha. Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. Sasiva Sahari Sendra Sokshara Paramaswarat. You pick any part of Vedic injunctions, they will all affirm that same reality. So we do not have some thousands of different gods. There is only one fundamental primordial reality, that is the Supreme Parabrahman. Call it by whatever name you want. Well, that doesn't mean that tomorrow you and I will create our own names and our own forms. This supreme reality, that there exists such a supreme reality, is to be realized only after a deep interest in wanting to know that, and also after a lifetime of commitment to realize that presence. We can see all this world around us. That is easy. Nobody need to tell me that there is a mic in front of me. Of course, we all can see that. So whatever we can feel, whatever we can see, hear, touch, smell, taste, we don't need great proofs, because they are direct in our experience. Whereas what is not in our direct experience is that supreme underlying reality that exists, permeates the entire universe. Who says so? Vedas says so. Upanishads says so. Isavasyamidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagat. This entire universe is permeated by Ishvara. Oh really? I don't feel it. Doesn't matter. But it is the case. It is the truth. That is what the Vedas declare. So we know that there is only one Godhead. We know that there is only one supreme reality. We know that there is only one entity that exists. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. And so on. We realize it in different ways. So, in Sanatana Dharma, therefore, Shankara, Sri Adi Shankara has said, okay, here is how this supreme reality can be experienced in primarily in these 6 different ways, is what he said. Now, if you get into Shaivam, you will see numerous forms of Lord Shiva, numerous forms of names of Lord Shiva. That's a different thing. The whole thing gets categorized as Shaivam. Anything pertaining to Shiva is Shaivam. Any avatar of Lord Vishnu, anything that pertains and worships the supreme reality as Vishnu is Vaishnavam. Similarly, Shakteyam. Similarly, Skandam. And today, of course, we are interested in knowing understanding. How is that that supreme underlying reality is Ganapati, in whose name we are celebrating this holy festival. So when we are talking about Lord Ganapati or Vinayaka or Ganesha, everybody here knows that he is the son of Lord Shiva and Parvati. That everybody knows. But what is that we are sitting here for? We are sitting here to understand that Ganapati, Lord Ganapati, that Vinayaka, that Ganesha, that Gajanana, that we have all been worshipping as son of Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati is actually the Parabrahman. He is actually the ultimate God. He is the only God that there is. That realization is what we are trying to seek in this satsang. So, let's keep that in mind, that that's the intent of this satsang. Right? So, obviously, if I am saying that he is not just the son of Mother Parvati and Lord Shiva, then that means that's not the first time that he was born. Because anything that is born will have to have death. Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityuhu, dhruvam janma mrutasya cha is Lord Krishna's statement in Bhagavad Gita. Anything that has birth has to die. Anything that dies will have to be born. You see, it is common sense and anybody can make this statement that anything that has birth will have to die. Do you need a proof? No. We see it all around us. But it takes great wisdom. It takes great insight to say everything that is that dies also will be born. Jatasri dhruvam mrityuhu is obvious. Dhruvam janma mrutasya cha, that which has died, it's not the end, will be born again. Only in Sanatana Dharma will such a statement be made. Right? So if we are saying that Lord Ganesha is born as the son of Mother Parvati and Lord Shiva, and stop there, it's true. And stop there, but that's not the complete understanding of who is Lord Ganesha. I hope the argument is clear. Right? So then who is this? When was the first time Lord Ganesha was born? Or if we cannot even use the word born, there is a supreme underlying reality that will come and that will manifest and unmanifest. It can appear and disappear. Right? We all came here at 10 a.m. Before 10 a.m., it doesn't mean that we don't exist. We came here at 10 a.m., but before we came here, we were somewhere else. Right? So in the same manner, Lord Ganesha as a supreme reality is always there. He will manifest, and if he so chooses, he will unmanifest. So what was the first such occurrence, if you ask? That was the beginning of creation, and Lord Brahma came into existence, and he was trying to figure out who he is and what is his task. Then to cut the story short, actually he will realize that his purpose is to create this universe. So we are talking about an entity before creation came into being. So Lord Brahma is sitting and thinking, okay, this is my task. How he figured out, etc. There is a long story in the Puranas. So he figured out, and he wants to now create this universe. And every time he was trying to do that, he wasn't getting the right kind of ideas, let's say, for simplicity. So it wasn't going forward. He wanted to do it, but it's a creative act that wasn't quite flowing, if you want to say that. So he didn't know what to do, so he started meditating. And as he meditated, the supreme reality manifested in front of, obviously when we say in front, I don't mean it front. When somebody is meditating, obviously we close our eyes and meditate and try to manifest the reality inside of us. Therefore, that supreme reality manifested inside of Lord Brahma as what? In a huge body of the brilliance of 10 million suns, and in a form that has a Vakratunda, a trunk that is curved, and such a form manifested in front of Lord Brahma and told him how to proceed with the creation. So what is this form? Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Everybody knows this two-line stanza. What form is this two-line stanza describing? This is the form that appeared in deepest meditations of Lord Brahma to bless him with an ability to start the creation and perform that act of creation. You see, what kind of body is this? And when we talk about this, it's also very important for us to understand and keep a perception of what are these gods that we are talking about. Because we are going to talk about a few other things as we go on, and it is very important to keep this perception in mind. When we talk about Lord Brahma, we all know how he looks, right? We know how he looks. He has 4 heads, certain number of hands, he is sitting on a lotus. We know these descriptions very well. We should not imagine that these bodies, these divine entities that we are describing are similar to our bodies. So when we talk about Lord Brahma, yes, Lord Brahma is there. He has meets all the descriptions of the Shastras that Shastras have told us. But not for once should we imagine that their bodies and our bodies are same. Very important to keep that in mind. Because our bodies are of different nature. The very word Deva in Sanskrit signifies a self-effulgent being. Div, Diya is of light, right? So Deva means an effulgent being. Well, an effulgence that comes out of an outside source is cannot be permanent. So it's a self-effulgent being. So the word Deva itself translates to self-effulgent beings, and therefore, is this body self-effulgent? Of course not. Right? None of our bodies are. So our bodies and the bodies of the gods and goddesses that we talk about in Sanatana Dharma are not the same type. We have to first set that in our minds. So now talk about the kind of Ganesha that appeared in front of Lord Brahma. He appeared with a Vakratunda. There is a trunk and it is curved with a huge head of an elephant. Mahakaya. What is this Mahakaya? It's a huge body. So you see, even a small sloka like this, which we chant very easily in less than 30 seconds, imbibes this description of this fundamental reality in it. If only we can ponder on these words, we can meditate on these words, they alone can give us a great joy, peace, and of course, eventually attaining Godhood. Self-realization, if you are interested, of course. Right? What is this Mahakaya? Think about it. We all know the Lord's sun in the sky. We all know several thousands of miles away, that sun exists several thousands of miles away from us. Right? And we also know how brilliant is the sun's light. So much so that this physical eye, we cannot even stare at the sun in the middle of the day for more than a few seconds. Right? Such is the brilliance of one sun that is actually thousands and thousands of miles away and is shining forth on Earth and all the other planets in the solar system. Now, just let us close our eyes for a minute and think about it. This is the brilliance of one sun that I cannot stare even for a few seconds without blinking. Think of Surya Koti Samaprabha. Koti is what? 10 million. So you are now talking about an effulgent being that appeared in front of Lord Brahma, whose brilliance is similar to 10 million suns. Our mind is incapable of even just comprehending that. But you see how easily we say it. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha. 30 seconds finished our puja, we are done. But if only If only we can close our eyes and spend 2 minutes truly focused on the meaning of these words that we are uttering, is there any doubt that you will receive the benefits of such a huge 10 million suns brilliance that is all around us? One sun that is so far away is enough to lighten up this entire earth and the whole solar system. How much of a brilliance will the 10 million suns have? Is there a doubt that such a 10 million sun brilliance of an underlying reality is omnipresent? Of course. It's just that these physical eyes are not equipped to see that, which is easy to understand because I cannot tolerate this sun, one sun's brilliance. What about 10 million suns? Of course, these eyes are not fit to see that brilliance. So if somebody says, where is God? I don't see it. Of course you don't see it. How can you see it? You see? So that is the form that appeared in front of Lord Brahma of 10 million suns brilliance. And what? If we all know how many times the size of the earth is this sun, right? It's much, much, much bigger than the size of the earth. Those of us who are interested can find out on the internet how many times the earth's size is sun, and it's huge. Now if it has this brilliance that the sun is giving has to be that huge, then if some body has to give 10 million suns brilliance, how big should that body be? Mahakaya, huge body. So nobody who understands the meaning of these words will think for a minute that the body of this Ganesha that appeared in front of Lord Brahma and my body are same. Nobody should think like that, right? So this Lord Ganesha appeared in front of Brahma with that 10 million suns brilliance, with a huge body Mahakaya and a Vakratunda. And to such an entity, Lord Brahma prayed and said, Nirvignam kurume deva sarvakaryeshu sarvada. I am going to embark on this huge task of creating this universe and then writing the, what is the fate of all the beings, who should be born, what they should go through. All this is a huge task for Lord Brahma, not a joke. So he is praying, Nirvignam kurume deva sarvakaryeshu sarvada. Please bless me so that I will not make mistakes in my process of creation. That is the first reference of Lord Ganesha. Why Vakratunda? Tunda, Vakra, if you ask, because that word we haven't explained. Vakratunda. This trunk of Lord Ganesha is curved. So if you look at, that's the description. But if you ask the word, what is the meaning of the word Vakra? Vakra means crooked. Vakra also means obstacle. Vakra also means distraction. So these are all the different meanings of the word Vakra. Tunda, somebody who destroys. So when you say Vakra Tunda, yes, physically you can describe that as an elephant face with a curved tundam, but it also signifies as somebody who is capable of destroying all Vignas. So he is called Vigneshwara. Vigna is obstacle. So obstacles are Vakras. Distractions are Vakras. So he will do Tunda of that. He will destroy those things. So now with this understanding, if we were to chant that 2 lines sloka with calm mind, focused mind, and ruminate on each of these words, is it not true that the divine grace and blessings of Lord Ganesha will be there for you and he will destroy the difficulties that will be there in our path? If he can do that for Lord Brahma, what are our difficulties anyway? Right? This is nothing for him. So our religion is such a fantastic religion that in a 2-line stanza, which seems like a very ordinary thing, right? All our Stotra class children know this. They start this and they know this. 30 seconds. You want to realize yourself? You are a Brahmagnani, you think you are an intellectual and therefore it is not for, this worship, praying to these gods, doing these pujas, all this is for lesser human beings. I am a very intelligent man, so I can meditate on the formless God. If you think this one stanza is enough for you to realize that. So, at every part of this religion is these kind of gems that are. This religion is studded with such gems. We don't often ruminate on these things. We don't spend time to ponder on these things. The day we do it, blessings are immediate, instantaneous. So that is the first appearance of Lord Ganesha. But he must have been there in order to appear in front of Brahma. So it was already the fundamental reality, the supreme Parabrahman, that is Lord Ganesha, who appeared in the form of a Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha in order to destroy the difficulties that Lord Brahma was facing in the process of creating this universe. That is the first appearance of Lord Ganesha. What is the next? Well, our sister sang, Vasumati sang a Kirtanam, in which there was a word that says that Kamesh Ahlada, that this divinity, that's the Kirtanam on Ganesha. So it describes that Ganesha as somebody whose presence has made Lord Shiva and Parvati happy. Kamesha Ahlada, Kamesha Nayana Ahlada. That's the word in her Kirtanam. I was listening to that Kirtana and said, look at this. This deepest of the philosophical theories and truths have been put in small shlokas. They have been made part of these kind of Kirtanams. We'll talk about Vikram's Kirtana in a few minutes. What is this? Those who are familiar with Lalita Sahasranamam will know that Kameswara Mukhaloka Kalpita Shri Ganeshwara is one of the names of Lalita Parameshwari, Mother Goddess, Bhuvaneshwari, the mother of the universe. So we are talking about the ultimate reality again in a different form. So what is the name? Kamesha? That's a different name. This one is Kameshwara Mukhaloka Kalpita Shri Ganeshwara. That's the name. Kameswara Mukhaloka Kalpita Shri Ganeshwara. That is the name. So this next, another instant when Sri Ganesha manifested is during this time. So the creation has started, the Devas are there, the Asuras are there, they are all doing certain things. Puranas describe in great detail. And there is a war going on between Devas and Asuras, Devasura Sangrama. It's called fight between. There is always a fight between Devas and Asuras. We should not have to think that, oh, it happened sometime some millions of years ago. The Devas and Asuras are symbolic of the good qualities and the bad qualities, the evil forces and the good forces. There is always a tussle between the evil forces and good forces, not just in the world outside of us, but in the world inside of us as well. That Sangramam is eternal, is always going on. Should I go to the satsang or should I go to the birthday party? That satsang, that the conflict is always there. So these Asuras and Devas are always fighting. So this was one such time that when Devas and Asuras were fighting some time ago. And the demons, there's a great description of this someday when we talk about Mother Goddess. We'll go into the details. But that one of the demons puts a certain yantra. Yantra is some kind of a mechanized version, you can think of it. Yantra is a diagram of certain mantras and things like that. And they did that, that demon did that to cause certain weaknesses among the Devas. So the Devas and Asuras are fighting. This one wicked fellow who is a smart Asura prepared this yantra called Vigna Yantra. And through that Vigna Yantra amidst the Devas. The purpose of that Vigna Yantra is to create all sorts of like laziness, distrust in the leader, discord amongst themselves. Who are you to tell me? In an army, there is a boss and there is somebody who is a leader, they're trying to tell. So when the whole army is fighting in harmony, then there is a certain result. But if each one starts saying, oh, I know what to do, who are you to tell me to fight like this, and they start arguing like that, their fight will go nowhere. So this Vigna Yantra is the yantra that caused that kind of discord among the devas. It caused a certain sluggishness among the devas. So it is called Vigna Yantra. He puts it there among the, there is a name for that fellow. Okay? Vishukra is his name, that Asura. So this causes a lot of turmoil amongst the devas' army. And then somebody goes and reports it to Lalita Parameswari and says, Amma, look, this thing is going on. All our devas are fighting among themselves now, forgetting to fight the asuras, the demons. So Lalita Parameswari looks at Parameshwara, the Shiva, Lord Shiva. Kameswara Mukhaloka. What happens? Mother Goddess looks at Parameshwara, who is there, Kameshwara Mukhaloka, and smiles. Lalita Parameshwari smiles at Lord Shiva. What will Lord Shiva do? Of course, he will smile back at Lalita Parameshwari. Right? Because you see, many times it happens. Two husband and wife, they are sitting in a crowd, wife is somewhere, husband is somewhere, they'll just make an eye contact. They think, oh, this is such a boring program, why are we there? They won't talk, but they'll just look at each other and they know what the wife is thinking. Is it not? We all know this, isn't it? So, if that is the case with us, Kameshwara Mukhaloka Kalpita Sri Ganesha, Mother Lalita Parameswari looked at Lord Shiva and smiled. Lalita Parameswari looked at Kameshwara looked at Lalita Parameswari and smiled. What is the result of their smiling to each other? Kameswara Mukhaloka Kalpita Sri Ganeshwara. By the merging of their looks, Lord Ganesha manifested. Kalpita Sri Ganeshwara. I told you already that the bodies of our gods and goddesses are not same as our bodies. Why is that important to remember it again at this context? Because when we say that Lord Ganesha is the son of Lord Shiva and Lord Parvati, it is not in the same manner that we all get our children, that the gods and goddesses get their children. We should not think like that. So how was Lord Ganesha born? By mere merging of the looks of Lord Lalita Parameshwari and Kameshwara, Sri Ganesha was born. How is it possible? If you want to understand, that's a theory and there's some other topic for some other day. The most important thing is that in the Kirtanam that Srimati Vasumati sang, this word is there, saying that this is the Ganesha who was born out of the Melanam of vision of looks of Mother Parameswari and Lalita Parameswari and Kameshwara. That was another manifestation of Lord Ganesha. I wasn't planning to say this at the beginning, but that Kirtanam prompted me to say. So in Sanatana Dharma, in Hinduism, you learn music. You are talking about the supreme underlying reality and manifestations of gods and Parabrahman. You chant a small shloka, you are doing the same thing. So nobody should think that these rituals, these gods, these names, these stotras, the parayanas, Lalita Sahasranamam, everything will talk about this one fundamental underlying reality, which is the supreme Parabrahman. You want to realize it through Lalita Sahasranamam, do it. You want to do it through a Kirtanam, do it. No matter what we choose to do, we all will get to the same. That's our luxury. You see, ours is not a type of religion which says that everybody must do only this, only then you will get to God. No. You do whatever is appealing to you. Here are the Vedic approved paths in front of us. Every act, singing, yes. Dancing, yes. Chanting, yes. Whatever you do, you transform it to an act that leads you to God. That is the greatness of this religion. Anyway, so we now realized, and this Ganesha who was born on the basis of this merging of the looks, what he went to the mother goddess and said, Amma, what do you want me to do? He is asking Sri Ganesha. This Ganesha's name is Mahaganesha. That is the name of that Ganesha. What do you want me to do? Mother Goddess said, well, you know, my son, you know what to do. And he said, yes, I know. I just wanted to get your command and go. So he goes and destroys that with his dantam, tusk. He destroys that Vighnayantram. Destroys that Mahaganesha Nirbhinna Vignayantra Praharshita. Mother Goddess became supremely happy. This is another name in the Lalita Sahasranamam. Mahaganesha Nirbhinna Vignayantra Praharshita. He goes and destroys that Vignayantra, and seeing that her son did such a fantastic thing, such a great thing, the Mother Goddess's heart was swelled with pride. That is the name. The Divine Mother whose heart swelled with pride on seeing his son destroy the Vignayantra. That is the name of Lalita Parameshwari. So in chanting a name of Lalita Parameshwari, you are actually recounting the manifestation of Lord Ganesha, what Ganesha did, how it happened. Everything is there. One sentence. Second. So since we, and then Vedas describe Lord Ganesha. Right? No, I was looking at the clock. Vedas describe Lord Ganesha. So far it is Lalita Sahasranamam, and we talked about that shlokam. How do Vedas describe Lord Ganesha? Ganana antva ganapatigum havamahe kaving kavinam upamashravastamam. Everybody knows this. Even if you don't know it by heart, you would have heard this. Right? Any puja will start with this. Jeshtarajam brahmanam brahmanaspata anasrunvan nutibhisi dasadanam. That is the mantra. That is how the Vedas describe Lord Ganesha. How do they describe it? Ganana antva ganapatim. That is how it describes. Ganam means a conglomeration, a collection. So Ganana antva ganapatim. Among the Ganas, you are the Ganapati. That means you are the Lord of the Ganas. So just the name Ganapati is a Mahamantra. It's a Mahamantra. We don't have to chant Vedas or do some yajnas. If you don't have the ability or you don't know, it's all right. Just chanting Ganapataye Namaha is a Mahamantra. And I will try to explain in a few minutes why is that such a Mahamantra. Because we all think, what's the big deal? You know, that's our problem. Great things are there for us, but we think, what's the big deal? Because we don't realize the value. Ganapataye Namaha is a Mahamantra, is a great mantra. Why? Gananam Tvam Ganapatim. So Ganas, what are Ganas? Is a conglomeration, is a collection, is what it translates to. Collection of what? When there is no qualification, it is all-inclusive Ganas. So if I qualify and say this type of Ganas, then it is limited to that. But if I just say collection of things, then the Ganas can mean all types of Ganas. What are, for example, various Ganas? Just looking at this, on this earth alone, if you see, all humans are one Ganam. Ganam means collection of humans, right? The entire humanity is a Ganam. Agreed? All trees, all types of trees, another Ganam. All animals, another Ganam. Agreed? Ganam simply means collection of objects. All humans, one Ganam. All trees, one Ganam. And then all animals, another Ganam. Now if you want to specialize, you can say, you know, among the animals, and then all birds, another Ganam. Right? So then if you want to qualify, you can say, oh, among the animals, I will call the collection of all lions as one Ganam. I will call all dogs as another Ganam. You're getting the drift of where I'm going with this. Ganam is simply a collection of entities. It could be collection of all dogs, it could be collection of all lions, collection of all whatever cats, and then put together all of these collection of animals, another Ganam, all humans, one Ganam, all Indians, another Ganam, all Americans, another Ganam, all smart people, one Ganam, all stupid people, another Ganam. Ganam simply means Collection. And this is what? Only on earth. And I just took only a few examples. You can think of many other ganams that exist on this earth. Right? And this is just one earth. All planets in the solar system, one ganam. How many solar systems are there? Millions and millions of solar systems are there in this nebula. So all solar systems, another ganam. How many such Milky Ways are there? That is all into one big universe. Right? That is, so you can see the scope of this word ganam. Right? How many such universes are there? Question is, how many such universes are there? If you go scientifically, science stops at some point and says, oh, this universe is expanding. Because it has some measure. If you look up, it will tell you how much is the spread of the universe and things like that. What is beyond that? Whether there is anything beyond that, we don't know. We'll find out someday, hopefully. But again, resorting back to Lalita Sahasranama, there is a name for Mother Goddess. Aneka Koti Brahmanda Janani Divya Vigraha is the name. She is the Divine Mother who is the mother of Aneka Koti Brahmanda. Brahmanda means this entire universe. Put everything that you know, that everything that science can tell you, put it all into one thing. That is one Brahmanda. It is much more than that, but let's agree. Now the Lalita Sahasranamam is talking about Aneka Koti Brahmanda. Forget Aneka part. Just Koti Brahmanda is how many? 10 million Brahmandas. Now Lalita Sahasranamam says Aneka Koti Brahmanda. It's not just one Koti. It's not 110 million unit. Aneka Koti. Aneka means more than one. What is more than one? Anything is more than one. 2 and then you don't stop with 2. Million is more than 1. So Aneka Koti Brahmanda Janani Divya Vigraha, it says. So that Brahmandas also form a ganam. All the gods and goddesses form a ganam. All the good things in this universe form a ganam. Now, with this understanding of the word ganam means all these different things that exist in this creation. Ganapati. Now you talk about Ganapati. Who are you talking now? Somebody who is the Lord of all of these ganas that you can ever think of. Lord means what? Pati is somebody who controls this, all the ganas. That means this any ganam that you can ever think of is under his control. Now tell me, is it not clear to us that Ganapataye Namaha is a Mahamantra? Because you are not, this is not just having some elephant-faced God, elephant God. This is one of the bad things with the translations is, if you read some books or some shows, they will refer to this as elephant God. It's not elephant God, it is God with elephant face. There is a difference. God with elephant face, God with monkey face is different from saying monkey God, elephant God. Right? The other day I read that there was a huge statue of Lord Hanuman that was unveiled in Houston or someplace in Texas. And the article says, monkey God statue unveiled in somewhere in Houston. It's not monkey God. It's not the God of the monkeys. It's a God who is monkey-faced. Similarly, it's not elephant God. God with an elephant face. You elevate it. Right? So, this Ganapati, when we talk about, we are talking about such a Lord of the Ganas of all types that you can ever think of. Now, when I close my eyes and I think, Om Ganapataye Namaha, and if I can hold my thought on what this word Ganapati means, then I am invoking that divine entity that permeates and controls all the ganas that anybody can ever think of, If those ganas are all under his control and you are praying to that entity and that entity's blessing and grace are coming onto you, are all those ganas going to work for you or not? Because you are the best buddy of that Ganapati. You see, many times in India we hear this. If some police or somebody catch them on the street, driving fast or crossing a red light, they'll say, do you know who is my brother-in-law? Right, because your brother-in-law, if he's an MP or MLA, then you can say, oh, that fellow is powerful, so we better leave him. Let's not impose a fine on him. In this country it won't work, but in India it will work. Right? Similarly, you are worshipping Ganapati. You are worshipping Ganapati. So any one of these ganas that are there trying to cause you trouble will be careful with you. Because you are close to somebody who is the Lord of all these ganas. I am saying it in a light-hearted way, but truly, if you can hold that faith in your heart and say that, I really want to pray to this God, one supreme God, Ganapati, who controls this entire universe. If I can hold that conviction that entity which I do not see with my eyes, that I do not experience in my real life, daily life, right? Routine life. But I only have a symbol that is sitting in front of me to represent that supreme reality, but I know what I'm doing. We are not worshipping stones and things made of metals and things like that. That is just a symbolic representation of the Ganapati who controls all the ganas in the universe. Now tell me, why will you not receive the protection? Of course you will receive the protection. What we need is that faith. What we need is that conviction. What we need is this understanding. So simple thing like Ganapataye Namaha is enough to remove all the obstacles in our paths. It could be in whatever form. I told you about all the ganas outside. Let's spend a couple of minutes to talk about the ganas inside. Right? All my karmendriyas are one ganas. All my jnanendriyas, the eyes, which eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin, these are the jnanendriyas, are one ganas. Okay? And then you can physically talk about all the different parts of the body, they are all ganas. Right? Ganapati. So he's not just controlling everything that is outside, he's controlling everything that is in the body and the body. So you have a problem, you don't have to go anywhere, just close your eyes and say what? Om Ganapataye Namaha. But what we need is that faith. Oh, if I say this will come to me. That you have to invoke that presence of God. Then it will happen. This is the experience of numerous bhaktas. It's not just a hypothetical thing. Right? So, ganas outside, ganas inside. We talk about vignas, vakras, distortions, and distractions. Right? How many times we hear parents saying, oh, my child, the fellow cannot concentrate for 5 minutes, he will sit down for homework and he cannot focus. Next minute he wants to see the TV, he wants to go on the phone. This fellow doesn't have any ability to concentrate and get homework done. Why? There are ganas here. All types of thoughts going all over the place. So collection of all thoughts are also ganas. Feelings, another gana. You want somebody who controls these thoughts. You want somebody who controls these emotions that we go through. It seems like when we hear people talk, it seems like the emotions control us. Oh, I just got so angry. I don't know why. But if you don't know why, and you got angry, and you did something overpowered by that anger. So that means who is the boss here? Anger is the boss. I feel sad. I am unable to do anything. Something happened, I feel sad and I am unable to do anything. Who is the boss? Sadness is the boss. So these are vignas. We don't look at it like that, but in our life, these are all in our daily experience. Our sadnesses, our angers, our overexcitements, our distractions. These are also different ganas, and there is this Ganapati who can control all these things. So prayer to Lord Ganesha can not only bestow grace and other blessings from the other things outside of ourselves, but they can also bestow that stability inside of us. That is why to all children in India, it used to be in our generation, I hope it is so with the current generation as well, our parents would say, before going to school, just to pray to Lord Ganesha and go. Ganesha and Saraswati and go. Why? Because Lord Ganesha gives that stability of mind. And that is why he is so heavy. You see, it's easy to move this, right? This mic. But if I have a huge stone in front of me, can I push it? No. Lord Ganesha, Mahakaya. So you cannot easily shake him. So worshipping Lord Ganesha also gives that mental stability. If anybody's child has that kind of problems of lack of concentration, the best remedy is make them pray to Lord Ganesha. Just chant to that Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kurme Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada, and watch. We have to do it, of course, not, you cannot say, just say it once and say, oh, I watched it, nothing happened. It's not like that. Of course, you must overcome the negative force to create the positive effect. So that means we must do this enough to make it a strong presence in our heart, that you are not overcome with sadness, you are not distracted by anger and other emotions, and you are able to concentrate and focus and achieve the things that you want to achieve. You want material success? Pray to Lord Ganesha. You want spiritual success? Pray to Lord Ganesha. No matter what you want, pray to Lord Ganesha. So Ganapataye Namaha. So we talked about Ganesha who manifested in front of Lord Brahma. We talked about Lord Ganesha who manifested during the Devasura fight at the Milan of Mother Goddess and Lord Shiva's looks. We understood why this Ganapati is a Lord of the collection of anything. Ganapati is Vedic. This is Vedic vision. Watch this. This is Vedic vision. So it sets forth, it says Ganapati, but it says what? Gananantva Ganapatim, finished. Of course, we can talk the interpretation of the rest of the mantra, but it will, in the interest of time, I will move on. But if that word Ganapati alone can have this much of an interpretation and meaning, you can imagine what the rest of the mantra will say. For an ordinary person who is not trained to learn Vedas and chant Vedas, just the name is enough. That is why lot of spiritual saints and sages have often emphasized Namasmarana. Namasmarana danyopayam nahi paschame bhavatarane. You want to cross the ocean of samsara? Just do Namasmarana. How Namasmarana will help? Well, it will help if you can only close your eyes and say Om Ganapataye Namaha, Om Ganapataye Namaha, Om Ganapataye Namaha. Keep pondering on what that means, and you will see that positive energy concentrate and settle in you. The day that happens, you will see how your life gets transformed. We have to do that enough to make it happen. Namasmarana. Not once in the morning, once in the evening. Now that we understand that Lord Ganesha that we are talking about is an elephant-faced God, or God with an elephant face, a huge kaya, a twisted trunk, and a chaturbhuja, and we are all used to seeing Lord Ganesha in various forms. The only forms that really we should talk about are the ones that are approved by the Vedas and as described in the Puranas. Not the modern Ganeshas that we will see in Hyderabad, the Ganesha celebrations, right? Those weird forms with Ganesha holding a computer and things like that are asastriyam. They are not approved by Ganesha, by Vedas. Wow, Veda Ganeshas, for example, this is a Veda approved Ganesha. Natya Ganesha is a Veda approved Ganesha. You will find a Ganesha sitting with Mridangam, approved by Ganesha, approved by the Vedas. So those are, so when you worship the God forms, approved by the Vedic and Puranic imagery, then we reap the benefits. So somebody who is doing a master's in computer science should not take Ganesha with a computer in his hand and worship. They should still worship with Ganesha with 4 hands. What does he have in those 4 hands? We'll talk. So now let us come to the Ganesha that we read about in the Vinayaka Vratam. So it happened, so it's a story, so you can relax. We talked about all high philosophy for... So there was this Asura, a demon, called Gajasura. This fellow had an elephant head and he was a demonic person. But he was a great Shiva Bhakta. He was a great Bhakta of Lord Shiva. And one of the basic qualities of these demons are that they want to live forever in the body. Anybody who goes, any demon wants, what if they want to do penance, like Ravanasura, like Narakasura. I don't want to list the names of demons. I'd rather list the names of the gods, right? But you all know who are the demons. And they all will go and do penance and ask for what? The moment the god appears, God says, okay, my dear devotee, what do you want? They will say, I want a life without death. I don't want to die ever. Like Hiranyakashipu, for example. Right? And then the god says, Brahma, or whichever god appears, says, that is not possible, my friend. Anything that is born has to die. Therefore, ask for something else. Then this demonic cleverness. The demonic cleverness says, okay, this is one fellow who said this, right? You all know, the moment I describe, you will know who this is. So God said, no, Brahma actually said, no, you cannot live forever in this body. So ask for something else. So this fellow says, okay, in that case, I should not die inside, I should not die outside. I should not die in the sky, I should not die on the earth. I should not die during the day, I should not die during the night. Who is this? Hiranyakashipu. Eh? The fellow thought he is smart. This is demonic intelligence. Asura intelligence. Oh, I will be smart. Smarter than God? Of course not. So that's the kind of, if you read Puranas, each Asura comes up with one very creative such things. What these Asuras don't realize is that if this Asura can have this much of an intelligence, how much more intelligence should the God have? He can circumvent all these, meet all these requirements and then kill this fellow. So this Gajasura, who is a great devotee of Lord Shiva, also does penance. And Lord Shiva appears. Because you see, you should not ask questions. These questions our children will ask sometime. Oh, why should Lord Shiva appear and give boons to all these evil people? God should know whom to give boons and whom not to give boons, right? How can you be God and then go and give all kinds of boons to these wicked fellows? The thing is, and this is easy to explain. Say, I am a teacher, I am a professor teaching a class. I have a very mischievous student in my class. He never listens, he never comes to my class, never follows my instructions. But just 2 days before the exam, he will study very hard and he will write the exam very well. I have to grade his exam. Should I grade the exam for what the student has written and pass him or give him or her an A grade? Or should I say, oh, this fellow was misbehaving in my class, so I'm going to cross, even though there is a correct answer, I'm going to cross it out and give 0. Should I do that? No. If somebody writes the exam correctly, independent of whether the student was well-behaved one or a badly behaved one, I have to give the grade that the student receives. Correct? Common sense? Same manner, once somebody performs certain austerities and penance and things like that, whether that fellow is good or bad, God has to appear and God has to grant whatever the boons this fellow is asking. So Lord Shiva appeared. This fellow said, I don't want to die, I want to be alive forever. Lord Shiva said, ask for something else. Then this fellow thought, Lord Shiva has no birth or no death, so he will live forever. So if Lord Shiva stays inside me, then as long as Lord Shiva is there, I will be there. So that means I can live forever. So he asks, okay, if you cannot grant me that kind of deathlessness in this body, you come and stay inside my stomach. This is the boon this fellow is asking. Gajasura wants Lord Shiva to come and reside in his tummy. Lord Shiva said, okay, I said whatever you ask I'll give, so you are asking me to stay inside your tummy, I will go and stay there. So Lord Shiva goes inside Gajasura's tummy. Now this fellow is thinking, okay, Shiva is inside me, Shiva is eternal, so I am going to live forever. There is no Lord Shiva in Kailasa now. Mother Parvati is there in Kailasa and Shiva is gone. Shiva is not to be seen. This is the Puranic story. Where is Shiva? Where is Shiva? Everybody is searching, he is not there. So then somebody tells, okay, this happened, and Lord Shiva gave this boon to this Gajasura and he is now residing in his tummy. How do I get him? How do we get him out? So then they all go to, Mother Parvati is very sad. So she tells, who will she tell? Her brother. Who is that? Vishnu is the brother of Mother Parvati. So it goes to his brother because the husband is somewhere. Whose help she will seek? Her brother, Vishnu. So of course, please save my husband, I don't know what kind of trouble he landed himself into. Please help. So Lord Vishnu, being Lord Vishnu, he knows what happened. So he calls Brahma, he calls all the other gods and says, okay, let's go on a mission. We are going to rescue Shiva. So Nandi, Brahma, Vishnu, everybody goes and they go to this city where Gajasura is living. And they say, Nandi, you become the bull. In Sankranti time in India, in South India, they go with the bull from house to house. It's called Gangireddu. I don't know what you call in other languages. They decorate the bull and the bull will go from house to house. There somebody will be playing this Nadaswaram and they will make the bull do, please prostrate in front of the so-and-so, then that bull will bend and do all those actions. I'm sure you have seen that. Right. On that day they do this, right, for that Pongal time. Right? So they do this. So they told Nandi, you become that. We will take you, and then everybody changes their appearance. So somebody goes with Nadaswaram and somebody is playing Mridangam. So they all go taking this bull and go around the storm. And this bull is Nandi, so obviously it's doing fantastic things that normally other bulls probably are incapable of doing. So it's attracting a lot of attention. Somebody goes and tells this Gajasura, oh, there is somebody, a troop that has come and they are doing a fantastic thing. Oh, is that so? Let's call them. So they all get called in front of the king, Gajasura. So they perform in front of the Gajasura. Gajasura gets very happy seeing all the gymnastics that this bull is doing. So he says, I'm really pleased with you guys. Ask for whatever you want. See, that control has gone. Now he's overcome with that excitement. So he says, ask for whatever you want. That's all they're waiting. Right? Now, Lord Vishnu says to Gajasura, this bull is not an ordinary bull, it is actually Nandi. I am not somebody you are seeing, I am Vishnu, this one is Brahma, and he introduces the whole party and says, we are all gods. We have come here to reclaim Lord Shiva. You said that you will give whatever we ask. Give us Lord Shiva back. Now you see, he is a demon. He can very well say, sorry, I am not going to give. But he is also a Shiva Bhakta. So the good and bad are always a mixture, just as they are in us. So this fellow says, okay, now he understands that, you see, I played a trick on Lord Shiva, but now if I have to give Shiva, then Shiva will have to come out of his tummy, which means he will die. He realizes that. He says, okay, that's fine. I am going to, since I gave my word that you can have Shiva back, I'll let you take Shiva, but I would want, as you kill me, and obviously I'm going to die, but once that happens, I would like that with this head, which is the elephant head, I have prayed to Lord Shiva and I have worshipped Lord Shiva for all my life. I would like, as a return gift to me, that this head be worshipped for a long time. They all say, okay, fine, we'll do that. And then, as the story goes, They chop off this fellow's head, take out, and then Shiva comes out. They all tell, okay, this is what happened. This is okay, fine, let's go. Shiva is back. Shiva is going back to Kailasa. So now in this story so far you see there is no mention of Lord Ganesha anywhere. Only a demon with an elephant head whose head has been chopped to retrieve Lord Shiva. Just as I mentioned to you at the beginning, that the bodies of these gods and goddesses that we are talking about are not human bodies. So it is very, very, very important for us to keep in mind that the Puranic stories are symbolic. The Puranic stories imbibe a lot of yoga rahasyas, the secrets of yoga. These Puranic stories have in them a lot of Jyotish rahasyas, that are the secrets of Jyotisham, right? And they have secrets of the creation. So when we hear a story, it's easy to mistake and then say, how is that, what kind of gods and goddesses are these fellows? Somebody goes and lives in somebody's stomach and say kill and all. Symbolic. That does not mean to say that these stories, these events have not happened. They may have happened in a different plane that is different from our level of existence. Because you and I have no right to say that they didn't happen. Just because I cannot understand doesn't mean it didn't happen. It didn't happen necessarily in this plane of existence. They happened in a different way, in a different plane of existence. These stories are conveying in a symbolic way much deeper truths. These stories are also imbibing a lot of yogic truths. They also imbibe in them a lot of Jyotisha truths. So there's a whole wide spectrum of interpretations for these stories of the Puranas. So it's easy to discard them and say, oh, they are figments of imagination, they don't make any sense, and discard them. That is easy. To discard something, all you need is ignorance. To accept something, you need wisdom. Because you need to understand. Right? We, when I say you, I mean all of us. So we have to bear that in mind when we hear these stories. So this troop of the gods are happy, they achieved their mission, Gajasura dead. Lord Shiva goes back to Kailasa. Somebody goes, like Sage Narada or somebody goes to Kailasa ahead of time and says, Amma, Lord Shiva is coming, is freed. So Mother Parvati is happy. She wants to get ready to receive Lord Shiva. So she wants to take a shower and all that stuff. In those days, I hope some days, some ladies these days also, they will do nalugu, which means they will put some turmeric and other things on their body, they smear on their body, and then they go for a bath, ladies. So Mother Parvati also took that thing and she was smearing all that on her hands and other places, on her body. And as she did that, she took out, from her body, she took out a portion of that, Sunnipindi we call that, basin. People use basin and turmeric and that thing. So she pulled out of her body, took it out, and we are talking about the Divine Mother, Parvati. So she made a small doll out of it, a baby doll, a boy, and infused prana into that doll. That became a very cute, smart boy and appeared in front of her. So this boy was born out of the creation of Mother Parvati, out of her body, made into a doll, infused life, made that boy. So that fellow came, the boy appeared in front of Mother Parvati and says, and she's very cute. And Mother says, because it's like son. Again, I told you, when we say son, wife, husband, these things are all, it came out of Mother Parvati, so it is the son. That is how it is taught. So this is the son of Mother Parvati now. And the Parvati says, okay, I'm going to go inside, I'm going to get ready and come back. You stay at the entrance. Make sure nobody enters this room or that building. So this boy, who was created by Mother Parvati, is standing guard at the entrance. This fellow, whom has this boy seen? Only Mother Parvati, and he has not seen Lord Shiva. He doesn't know who Lord Shiva is. Lord Shiva is returning from Gajasura's death after that. So he comes to Kailasa and he wants to go meet Mother Parvati. He wants to enter that building. And here is this boy stopping Lord Shiva and saying, no, you cannot enter, because my Mother Parvati said, don't allow anybody inside. And I am not allowing. I don't know who you are and I am not going to allow you. He tries to tell, hey, look, I am the husband of this Mother, you are saying that you made you and all that stuff. He doesn't listen. No, I am sorry, my mother told me, nobody should be allowed, I am not going to allow anybody. Tries to reason, doesn't listen. So what does Lord Shiva do? He takes his Trishulam, chops off his head, kills him and goes inside the building. They meets Mother Parvati, they talk. The Mother Parvati is happy, he is happy. As they are conversing, the topic of this boy comes up and Mother Parvati says, you know, I just made a beautiful boy and out of this thing, and that boy is there outside standing guard. That's when Lord Shiva realizes, oh, that is the boy I killed just now. So he tells, oh, I'm so sorry, I just didn't know that this fellow is like this and I just chopped his head off. Obviously, Mother Parvati is sad. So then he says, oh, how could you do this and whatever the conversation. So Lord Shiva says, don't worry. And then tell somebody, go bring that head of that Gajasura, who asked that his head should be held and worshipped for a long time. So he says, bring the head of that Gajasura, that head will be brought, and Lord Shiva puts this head of this Gajasura, joins it with the body, rest of the body of this boy, and that is the birth of this Gajanana that we talk about. Vinayaka Utpatti, this is what Vinayaka Vratakatha describes as the manifestation of Lord Ganesha. This is the story. And then as a to make up for all the suffering that Lord Shiva caused, he gives him a lot of boons. He says, oh, you will be the first person to be worshipped for any puja or anything that anybody wants to do. First worship must be done to Lord Ganesha. All those blessings, they give special blessings because poor fellow, he just suffered such a trauma and so he needs to be compensated, right? Now this boy that we are looking at has the Ganesha, is the Gajanana, is the Gaja head and the human body. That is one other manifestation of Gajanana or Ganesha. Ganesha, if you see, now you see the meaning differences. When I say Ganesha, you are talking about Lord of Ganas. When I say Gajanana, you are talking about a deity with a God with elephant face. So that is how the Vinayaka or Ganesha came to be born, according to this Purana. Now, obviously, if you look at this story, if I have to tell you just this story and stop, you will have 1,000 questions. How can Shiva do this? Why is such a violent thing part of all these things? All kinds of questions can be asked. As I mentioned already, of course these stories are symbolic in many ways. At least in so far as we are concerned in our plane of existence, we should not take them literally. So what is the meaning of this? You will see this in a lot of Shastras, the words in Sanskrit. If you reverse the word Deva with the vowel sound attached to the second letter, it becomes Veda. Deva, when you reverse the syllables, becomes Veda. Vedas are the body of knowledge that will talk about Devas. So that's the connection, that's how these things will happen. And here we are talking about a god created by Mother Parvati and whose head was installed by Lord Shiva as Gajavadana. Vadanam is face. Gajavadana is elephant-faced god. Gaja, when you reverse, what happens? Jaga. What is the meaning of the word Jaga? So, this entire creation is Jagam. Reverse it, it becomes Gajam. When the body of that boy was made from Mother Parvati, Parvati and Lord Shiva are the parents of the universe. When we talk about them as parents, they are the cause of the universe from whom the universe has come forth. Vagartha viva sampraktau, Vagartha pratipattaye, Jagatah pitarau vande Parvati Parameshwarau. The Parvati and Parameshwara are like the father and mother of the universe. Mother is the Prakriti, the father is the Chaitanya, the consciousness. Shivam or Brahman. When the boy was made from something that came out of Mother Parvati, this boy was made entirely of the Prakriti, the nature, having no knowledge of God or Shiva. So this is somebody who came into existence only by mere process of a nature. Had no knowledge that there is who is God, what is God, how does Lord Shiva, he has no knowledge because he has never seen. So anything that is born only in that manner is not permanent. It cannot exist like that. So what does Lord Shiva do? By in the process of removing that head and installing a Gajavadanam, he is infusing the knowledge of God. Jagam is the lower part of Lord Ganesha. Gajam is the head, which is the one that thinks, and therefore that means that has the awareness of God and knowledge of who is God, Father of the universe. So in saying so, there is a symbolic message that is being conveyed that for anything to be sustained, it has to be a combination of nature and God, mixture of that. Shiva and Shakti, both have to be there. If something happens only by Shakti process, not sustainable. It has to be infused with the knowledge of Lord Shiva, and hence this story, one such simple interpretation for this story of why this Shiva comes, and Shiva, he doesn't know who is Shiva, is saying that somebody who has no knowledge of God. You see, there are any number of people like that. You talk to them about God, they'll say, oh, don't tell me about all these God and all these things, I don't care. I don't understand this stuff. Right? But that means what? We are behaving like people without an awareness of God. I may not see, I may not experience, but that there is God is a conviction that we must have. So in this story, they are conveying the message that combination of Shiva and Shakti is the manifestation of Vinayaka or Ganesha. So therefore, it becomes that entity that comes forth in this manner becomes worthy of worship. Anywhere you see combination of Shiva and Shakti has to be a worship thing. Jagata Pitarau Vande, because they are the same. And hence he is the son of Shiva and Parvati. What kind of son is this? If you look at it, Ganesha, Gajavadana, is not the son in the manner that we get our children. So it was born out of Mother Parameshwari and infused with divine knowledge with putting the Gajavadanam. So that is one other story of Lord Ganesha. So when we are praying to Lord Ganesha, now comes the crux of this whole story. When we are praying to Lord Ganesha, a human body with the elephant head, you are saying that I will think of this entire universe that is all around us as infused with the divinity, as infused with the knowledge of the divine. So I will go about this, my job in this world, all the time being conscious that there is God presence. So worshipping Lord Ganesha is like saying that I will realize this universe and the world around me as inseparable from God. Right? So so when you keep worshipping Lord Ganesha in this perspective, the world around you becomes infused with divinity. And that world around you which is infused with that divine principle can only bring you blessings and all good. So why is it so important to worship this Lord Ganesha? For this reason. So we are now talking about many reasons why we should worship. This is one other reason. Gajavadanam, and Jaga is the body. So that is the spiritual significance of this story. You can ask, why chop off the head and all these things? There are a lot of yogic rahasyas in that, which we won't go in because this audience is not necessarily deeply interested in yoga and things like that, but there are yogic secrets embedded into this story that I just described. One is to simply understand that it's a combination of both Shiva and Shakti. Now there is another manifestation of Lord Ganesha. So there is this Puranic story of Tripurasura Samharam. Tripurasura Samharam. There were 3 demons now. They are called 3 asuras, 3 demons. There is a great description of their names, etc. They also go and do penance. To who? To Lord Shiva. Always they will go and, you see the demons will, they will go to only, either they will go to Lord Shiva or they will go to Brahma, but they will never go to Vishnu. Because they are always opposed to Lord Vishnu. Why is the question? Because Vishnu is what? Vishnu is the principle of all pervasive divinity, and ignorance of not having a cognizance of that divine presence is asura nature. See, there is divinity all around us. This fellow says, I don't recognize it. I don't want to acknowledge it. That is asuric quality. That is the negating the existence of Vishnu. So they cannot go together. If you remember, if you think about Prahlada's story, Prahlada keeps on saying, where is Hari? This fellow, his father keeps asking, you keep on saying Hari, 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 where is this Hari? And this fellow Prahlada replies, what do you mean asking, where is this Hari? Andukalad induledani sandehambu valadu. Endendu vedaka chusina andande kaladu danavagrani vitte is what Prahlada's response. What do you mean by asking, where is Hari? Wherever you look for him, he is there. Everywhere. That is the response of a bhakta. This is the attitude of a demon. Therefore, they cannot get along. Whereas Ishvara, Lord Shiva, is Bhuta Ganadhipa also. He is the God for both the gods as well as for the Bhutas and the evil fellows. He is Lord only one. So they will go worship him. Brahma, of course, they will go because Brahma is the creator. You created me, now you bear with the... Like our children sometimes, hopefully our children don't tell. They'll say, well, I'm your son, so you better deal with me, whatever I want, kind of thing. Right? So, like that, they will go to Brahma. So these 3 fellows, demons, also go for penance, Lord Shiva. I think they go to Lord Brahma. To Brahma. And it matters. Why is it important whether they go to Brahma or Shiva? I will tell you in a minute. Same thing. We don't want to die. No, please ask for something else. So then they again, you see, I told you about demonic cleverness. They'll say, okay, we want to become like cities, 3 cities. Each one will become a city. And we want to be flying cities. Puras. Pura means city. Right? So they want to become like flying cities. One is a city of gold. And again, there is a lot of symbolism in this story. One is a city of gold. Other is a city of silver. And the third one is a city of iron. So these 3 fellows want to become like 3 cities and flying cities. And what they will do, they want to cause obviously demons, so they want to make others suffer. Right? Anytime we are wishing for somebody else's suffering, that means we are behaving like demons. So these fellows they will fly. Anytime they want to trouble somebody, they will go and land on them. The whole city lands on them, so they all die. So they'll keep flying, and they want to punish somebody, they'll land on them and they'll kill. That is their cleverness. We want to become like these 3 cities, flying cities. And Purana describes this in great detail. Actually, it is much more fantastic than any of the Hollywood movies you can think of, actually. And some of them might be getting ideas from the Puranas, I suspect. So then they say, every once in 1,000 years, this is still the boon, okay? They are asking, they cannot die, They will have to die, but they'll say, if only this happens, we will die. So what should happen? They will be living, and every once in 1,000 years, they are called Pushkalavarta Megha. Certain type of clouds come in the sky every once in 1,000 years. So at that time, for a very brief moment, we will all come in one line. When we fly, we will come in one straight line. Okay? Once in 1,000 years, they will come in line. And at that time, Lord Shiva should use a bow that is not a bow, use an arrow that is not an arrow, and then shoot with once he should shoot us, and in one shot he should kill all three of us. Then we will die. What is their confidence? Their confidence is, see, we also worship Lord Shiva, anyway Shiva is not going to kill us. That's what they think. But the boon is given by Brahma. Brahma is the one who decides all these things. So once in 1,000 years they are going to come, these meghas will come, and then they will, for a brief minute or so, they will come in line, and then Shiva has to shoot an arrow that is not an arrow, and come with a bow that is not a bow. All these silly things they will prescribe. Brahma has no choice. So he says, okay, tathastu, so be it. Now these fellows say, okay, now this is never going to happen, so we are going to live forever. So these fellows are causing a lot of trouble. These are the Tripuras, right? Cities, Tripura. Tripurasura is Tripuras who are the Asuras. Now Lord Shiva is known as the Tripurasura Samhari. Means he is the one who killed these Tripura Asuras. So Tripurasura Samhara Vrittantam is described in great detail in Shiva Puranam. Goes on for a long time, then everybody goes and says, you have to do something. So Lord Shiva, and to cut the story short because they are talking about Lord Ganesha, makes the earth itself as a chariot, Vedas as the horses, and uses Vishnu as the arrow. Because it has to be an arrow which is not an arrow. So Vishnu becomes the arrow, and then they'll keep coming in line, right, during that time. So he has to shoot. So as bow, I think Brahma or one of the detail. So there is a description of who is the bow, who is this and all that. Now he tries to shoot. As soon as Lord Shiva tries to shoot, these three fellows will go away from being in a straight line. Because they don't want to get killed, obviously, right? They are going to do their best to live. So however much he tries, Lord Shiva, we are talking of Lord Shiva trying, doesn't succeed. He thinks, what is going on here? I am trying to do this and it's not happening. And he looks at Mother Parvati. Parvati says, did you, when you started to come for this war, did you pray to Lord Ganesha and come? He says, oh, that is our son, what is the big deal? So, many times when somebody is very close to you, very familiar to you, we don't realize their value. We say, it's our fellow, what is the big deal? Right? So he's our son. He says, no, you gave the boon that anybody, before starting anything, you should worship Lord Ganesha first. You didn't do it. So she asked, better worship. Now he cannot say, let me go back to my Kailasa and pray to Lord Ganesha and then come, because these fellows, the time will go away and then they will not be again for another 1,000 years. So what he does, he sits there in meditation. Because he sits there in meditation, assumes his Panchavaktra form. Lord Shiva is supposed to be having 5 heads. Panchavaktra form. They don't always walk around with 5 heads. When they want, they manifest. Again, symbolism. Those Panchavaktras of Lord Shiva have names: Sadyojata, Vamadeva, Aghora, Tatpurusha, Ishana. These are the names of Lord Shiva's faces. These faces have colors. These faces have certain features. So this is not just some trivial thing that somebody is trying to make a story and things like that. There is great detail that is available to if somebody is interested. There is a description. Samvartagnitati pradipta kanaka bhasvata tejomayam gambhira dhvani samaveda janitam praspardhitam radharam ardhendu jyutilola pingala jata bhara prabadhoragam Vande Siddha Sura Surendra Namitam Purvam Mukham Shulinaha. The description of the eastern face of God. Purvam means east. Purvam Mukham Shulinaha. Kala Brahmaranjana Djutinibham Vyavrutta Pingekshanam. So it's describing the second, like that, every face is described. I won't go into all that. So Lord Shiva manifested, sat there in meditation with all his 5 Bhaktras, 5 faces. Sadyojata, Vamadeva, Aghora, Ishana, Tatpurusha, Ishana. The 4 directions, there are 4 heads and one is the Urdhvamukha. When God's heads are described, they are never linear. They are always circular. If you see Ravanasura is also Dasakantha. Ravanasura's heads, all 10 in a line. Lord Shiva is Panchavaktra, not in a line. They will be. So that's why this sloka I just read, Purvam Mukham Shulinaha. Then he talks about Dakshina Mukham. It's facing, one is facing east, other is west, south, other is. So it's around, circular. 5th one, Urdhva Mukham, looking up above. So that is how God's heads are. Even if you see Mother Gayatri, for example, there is a close connection between Mother Gayatri and Ganesha. Both start with Ga. So that's a Bijakshara, actually. Okay? So Mother Gayatri is also described with 5 heads. Again, circular. So anyway, Lord Shiva is meditating with his 5-headed form and meditation. He sits there meditating on who? Lord Ganesha, invoking Lord Ganesha because he is sitting in Kailasa, but Lord Shiva, who is all-pervading, Lord Ganesha, who is also a symbolic representation of Parabrahman, can be invoked anywhere. So he sits with his 5 heads and meditates. And when he does that, Lord Ganesha manifests within him as what? With 5 heads. Because Shiva is with 5 heads and is meditating with all his 5 heads. Lord Ganesha also manifests with 5 heads, 5 elephant face heads in 5 directions. Panchamatanga Mukha Ganapatina Paripalitoham is the Kirtanam that Vikram sang. May that Lord Ganapati, who is 5-headed with 5 Ganesha heads around me, may I be ruled by that 5-headed Ganapati, is the meaning of that first line of that Kirtana that Vikram sang. You learn one Kirtanam and sing it. You are worshipping that 5-headed Matanga, Panchamatanga Mukhya Ganapatina Paripalitoham is the sloka, is the Kirtana. So you see, this entire Puranic story is brought into just one sentence. Panchamatanga means elephant. So this 5-headed elephant Ganesha, 5 elephant-headed Ganesha manifests in front of Lord Shiva and says, now that you prayed for me, I bless you to go ahead and finish your task. So then Lord Shiva gets up and now uses Vishnu as his arrow and shoots at these fellows, and they come for a split second in one line, and then he shoots all of them and they are killed. So Tripurasura Samharavadha is the story that we have just recounted, which is intimately connected with 5-headed Lord Ganesha as a form that is manifested. So we talked about a Mahaganesha who is manifested by the combination of looks of Mother Parvati and Ishvara. We are talking about Panchamatanga Mukha Ganesha. We talked about a Ganesha that appeared in front of Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha. We talked about a Ganesha who is a Gajavadana born as a consequence of Gajasura Samharam. We talked about Lord Ganesha, who is a Ganapati, who is the Lord of all Ganas. So this is just touching on some of the few things that we can talk about Lord Ganesha and his glory. This is not even the tip of the iceberg. This Ganapati that we are worshipping is therefore no less than Supreme Parabrahman, the ultimate reality. Very easily we will say, go Suklam Varadharam Vishnum Sasivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadaram Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantayet, 30 seconds, finished puja, going to work. It's okay. If that's all you have, it's okay. But you are invoking what? Just having that sense at the back of the mind that, oh, I am actually touching on that all-pervading reality. Here is another quick symbolic thing. And this five-headed Ganesha, there is a description of that Ganesha also. Just as Lord Shiva has 3 eyes, each face of Lord Ganesha also has 3 eyes. So there is a description. So because as father, like son. So they will also have this Tripundram. They will also have Trinetram. Many qualities of the father will be there in the son. Son, we also understand what that means now, right? Just another manifestation of the same reality. In Puranic symbolisms, if you ever come across a description of a deity with 5 heads, that is a representation of ultimate Parabrahman. Doesn't matter whether it is Mother Gayatri or if it is Ganesha, like the one we just talked about. And incidentally, this 5-headed Ganesha has the name Heramba. Heramba Ganapati is the name of this Ganapati with 5 elephant-headed face. And he comes riding on a lion. Because you see, any time you talk about the divinity, it has to be a combination of Shiva and Shakti. So this 5-headed Ganapati manifested out of Shiva's meditation, but where is mother in this? That Ganesha was born out of the mother, where is father in that? So that elephant head became the father's contribution. Here in this story, where is the mother? This 5-headed elephant Ganesha appears in front of Lord Shiva riding a lion. Simha Vahanam. Whose Vahanam is Simham? Mother Goddess Lalita Parameswari is the Simha Vahini. So in appearing on that Simham, he conveyed the combination of Shiva and Shakti. So in these ways, you will see many descriptions of Lord Ganesha. And you go to India, that land is infused with divine energy. If you only look at that land from a physical perspective, we won't see it. But from Kashmiram to Kanyakumari, wherever you go, you will see temples of Lord Ganesha in different forms. Not to speak of Maharashtra, where Ganapatyam is most prevalent in Maharashtra, state of Maharashtra. Okay? Morgaon. Many places are there. But Kshetras of Ganapati is another topic we will not be able to talk today. But Panchabrahma Swarupam, that 5-headed Godhead, is Parabrahma Swarupam, no matter in what form we see it. That is because each face is representing a particular act. So Srushti, Sthiti, Layam, and Tirodhanam and Anugraham. These are the 5 acts this Parabrahma performs. Srushti is creation, Sthiti is sustenance, Layam is dissolution. These 3 we know, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheswara, these 3, Srushti, Sthiti, Layam. Tirodhanam and Anugraham. What is Tirodhana? Tirodhana is after this cycle of life and birth happens several times. This entire creation goes into a state of frozen state of existence, if you want to call it that. Okay? No creation, nothing is happening, everything goes back into that one Supreme Parabrahma, frozen. And then, after a certain period, the entire creation comes forth from that frozen state to a live state. I'm giving a very quick thing about it. And that process, and then all those beings that got into frozen states get released according to their karmic things and etc. and they'll start this whole process again. Right? So that process of sending this creation back into existence is called Tirodhana. And Anugraham is the 5th act, which is also an act of grace, is to give liberation to a particular jiva and once for all getting oneness with that supreme reality with no return ever. So that is anugraha. These 5 acts are performed by Supreme Parabrahman, and any deity that you see with 5 heads is representative of that Supreme Parabrahman. And we have just talked about Lord Ganesha with the 5 heads as manifested in front of Lord Shiva. That is in part of Tripurasura Samhara. There is a Purana called Ganesha Purana. And you can imagine how many stories of Lord Ganesha and his Leelas would be described. We will not have the time to go into it, so we will conclude at this point. And in listening to all these things and in saying all these things, I think we have all implicitly received the blessings of Lord Ganesha. Each divine form, of course, it would require some explanation. So Modakam, if you say Mudam is happiness. Modakam is, when you offer that to him, it is like we are trying to please him. So, but what he gives you back in return is Mudam. So, if you want happiness in your life, pray to Lord Ganesha. And in the symbolic form, we give this Modakams. Sanskrit word simply means that which gives happiness. Right? That is just a gist of it. But then what is that? We use jaggery, why jaggery, all those things will come. That will become a cooking lesson, so I won't go into that. And we will probably start thinking about the food. But yes, there are reasons for all those things. Upasana is entirely different topic, really. Because we just talked about some Puranic stories, the symbolism and the meaning and the value and the glory of Lord Ganesha, right? We did not go into the Upasana part. This is purely, if you want to worship Lord Ganesha, just chant this stotra, sing this kirtanam, do this pujanam, do this vratam, etc. Very superficial way. We touched, and that took us an hour and a half and more, right? To get into Upasana Kanda, which means if you want to worship a certain deity in a certain manner, you offer this particular naivedya. You do this particular type of worship. Like Vinayaka Vratam, for example, we collect certain leaves and other things from the surroundings, right? Only on Ganesh Chaturthi day we are allowed to offer Tulasi Dalam as a offering for Ganesha. Other days we should not offer Tulasi for Lord Ganesha. You can ask why. So there are rules for Upasana, there are results for Upasana. Doing a particular type of Upasana results in a particular type of benefit. So for those reasons, certain prescriptions are made for all these gods, okay? But you can say, look, I don't know all those things. This is too complicated for me. I just want to pray and invoke grace and blessings. Then what is enough for us? Om Ganapataye Namaha is enough for us. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakaresha Sarvada is enough for us. Right? But if somebody says, no, I really have a lot of time. I want to learn all these things and do this so that I get this particular benefit, then the Upasana Kanda will describe in great detail why, what, how, and all those things. Some other day and some other time, God willing, we'll talk about those things as well. So I hope that we have some idea of who is this Ganapati that we are talking about and who is this Lord Ganesha that we have been worshipping, whose vratam we have just performed yesterday. Today morning also Chaturthi was there up to 8 o'clock, and then the Panchami Tithi came. So I'm glad that we could have this session today. If you are all up for it, I would like to sing a small bhajan in praise of Lord Ganesha, and if you could follow, that would be nice. Shall we conclude with that? I know it's 12 o'clock and we must all be hungry, right? You can sing after me. Gajavadana Gananadha Gajavadana Vinayaka Gajavadana Gananatha Gajavadana Vinayaka. So you see, when you say these words, Gajavadana, you are thinking of a story. Gananatha, you are thinking of something else. So they all look like they are names of same God Ganesha, but now you know what these words will mean. Siddhi Pradata Sivatanaya, Siddhi Pradata Sivatanaya, what's the next name? Buddhi Pradayaka Gajanana, Buddhi Pradayaka Gajanana, Parvati Nandana Bhava Bhaya Bhanjana, Parvati Nandana Bhava Bhaya Bhanjana, Yuga Yuga Vandita Jaya Sri Ganesha, Yuga Yuga Vandita Jaya Sri Ganesha. We sing these names so because we realize that this reality is all around us. So we only have to sing forth and we invoke that presence of God in our head. Gajavadana Gananatha, Gajavadana Vinayaka, Siddhi Pradata Sivatanaya, Buddhi Pradayaka Gajanana, Parvati Nandana Bhava Bhaya Bhanjana, Yuga Yuga Vandita Se Jaya Sri Ganesha, Yuga Yuga Vandita Jaya Sri Ganesha, Gajavadana Gananatha, Gajavadana Vinayaka. Hari Om Tat Sat.